to the Saturday Morning Nerd Show. I'm your host, Marcus Blake, and joined with me, as always, is the brewing sailor, Brendan Smith.
Hello, nerds. I know you can't really see. Trust me, it's there.
All right. And we got Chad from the Electric Jellyfish podcast.
How you doing, guys?
And Mr. Jimmy Alford, our resident woodworker.
What up, nerds?
So anyway, we are back, and yes, while this is November, there are some gaming anniversary dates we got to start out with right off the bat. It is 2025, a momentous occasion. Some great things are celebrating its 40th birthday, the original NES. And
Hence
Mario.
the man on your shirt.
Absolutely. So 1985 was a great year for nerds, not only with, great movies like Back to the Future and the Goonies, but the original Nintendo. And it's hard to believe that we're here 40 years later and these characters are still just as popular, and we're still playing these games. So happy 40th to Nintendo. And we can't wait for the next 40. So also great year for the Nintendo Switch 2 to come out at the 40th anniversary of Nintendo.
And
with
also,
that,
screw you for not releasing it with an OLED screen and making us all buy a second upgrade again. Thank you for
that. Before we get to anything, I think, we've talked about this before, but, let's go ahead and just settle debate. Which is the best Mario game of all time?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Jimmy there.
Yeah, we got to go with,
100% Tanuki.
That's cue the Wesley Snipes gift from Demolition Man.
Exactly.
Exactamundo.
And let's not forget the movie The Wizard, which was the greatest promo video for Super Mario 3.
Also, the Power Glove.
The Power Glove.
Everybody had to have the Power Glove after that.
Yes.
Strong autistic lead character.
By the way,
we were progressive in 1985. Or
Jenny Lewis and her band were coming through Dallas this past month, and I wanted to go because I'm like, I'm sorry, I still have a crush on Jenny Lewis. That has not gone away in 36 years. So, but anyway, happy 40th to Nintendo and Donkey Kong and everything else. So, but before we get to the topic, we're doing part 2 of our sci-fi movies that transcended the genre, but this time we're also going to throw in some horror sci-fi movies since it is around Halloween, and we just got through doing that. But little business before we get to this week's Sign of the Apocalypse, which has a gaming theme, and we're going to take a little while with our complaint session, so to speak. But we got to talk about some current movies that are in the theater right now. At the time of this recording, while we don't really dive into politics, that's not our show. 2 really good politically charged thrillers that are must-see movies of the year. And very timely, I must say. I do encourage people go see Nuremberg with Russell Crowe and Rami Malek. It's not a perfect film, but Russell Crowe gives an Oscar-winning performance as Hermann Göring. He was really good, and Rami Malek was really good in it as well. In fact, the entire cast was just phenomenal, and the courtroom scenes were really good. So the other one that I wanted to give a shout out to is, when you're a critic, you don't get surprised very often. There's fun movies that come along, like you can't believe how fun this movie really was, and you're going to see it again. And trailers have a habit of completely giving away movies. The movie Anniversary, starring Kyle Chandler and Diane Lane. I had no idea what this movie was about. It was just one of those that we were going to review. And the trailer was very cleverly deceptive. It doesn't even give the awe of a political thriller at all. If you watch the trailer, it looks like it's a mesh of Single White Female and Fatal Attraction, where a student is trying to get back at a professor, and you're like, oh, okay. And then completely not what that is about. And it is a interesting political thriller about a movement that takes shape, that basically turns America into a fascist regime. If V for Vendetta had a companion movie, this would be it. And I know the movie's already starting to get a little heat because it represents too much the MAGA movement, but don't go into it for that if you happen to watch this movie. I'm sure it'll be on digital pretty quick because it's a Lionsgate movie, but I encourage people, it is worth the rental, if nothing else, because of the performances and just kind of how it ends. Also, for anybody that watched the limited series on HBO years ago called The Plot Against America, very much in the same vein. So it is absolutely worth watching. I want to recommend that. And Jimmy got his dad points by taking his daughter to Stitch Ahead. Now, did you enjoy the movie, or is it just a really good movie to take your kids to?
I know. I did not enjoy the movie that much, but here's the deal. The reason I didn't enjoy the movie is just because like Stitchhead has like this like the main character has a very soft voice delivery. Think about like, your Wallace and Gromit type movies and how
Right.
like everyone just has like this soft like British delivery. Very much that's what this movie does. And I don't know, it's like the main well, I don't know. Maybe we could just all be friends. And it's like everyone around him is like in the moment. Everyone else is like screaming, and like he's just so timid. And I'm just like, dude, you're like the main character. You're like part Frankenstein. Come on, surely the mad scientist gave you balls. But like I said, the movie's not for me. My daughter, who read the graphic novels, she's 7. She loved it. Wants to see it again. So, like,
So what you're
I
doing right
mean,
now is coordinating with friends so that a family friend and their parent will have to go see it, so you don't have to take one for the team and watch it twice.
misery loves company. So,
Also, hey, there's being a good dad, and then there's also, being a
Look,
smart dad.
on the bright side, at least you didn't have to work a movie screening party where you had to watch Twilight. So there is that. So,
Oh man. So okay. When it comes to Twilight, I will say like one of the things like whenever because that was like my wife liked Twilight. She loved the books and then she watched the movies when they came out. And I end up having to watch all the movies. And one of the things I always comment on is like I don't think you noticed this back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, but I want you to look at how much eyeliner all the men are wearing. It is like a glam rock show from the 80s.
And they
How
sparkle.
much eyeliner that they are caking on their faces.
It's all you need to do is throw Poison in the soundtrack.
I'm
Um,
telling you,
like
even the Doctor Who actor who's in it, what is his name? Even him, you look at him, how much eyeliner he's wearing, and it is just, I mean, it's like,
is it
good
David
God.
Tennant or Christopher
David
Eccleston?
Tennant. Yeah.
Okay.
David
I
Tennant
thought
is
that was
amazing.
Michael Sheen that was in.
Well,
I think
They always look like they could pass for each other's brother or something.
But so here's the thing. My wife enjoyed the books until she realized they weren't spoofs. When other people started taking them seriously, like she's like, no, this is like just a spoof, right? This is just a joke on 50 Shades of Grey fan fiction. And everyone's like, no, it's all serious. And she's like, okay, you can keep that. She read them as a
Well,
comedy and thought it was great.
well, it's like 50 Shades of Grey was apparently a fan fiction that just got out of control.
Well, yeah, there was
Like,
that. That's what it was. 50 Shades is the fan fiction of that. That's right. I got that mixed up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm not an aficionado of this shit.
I either one. I mean, both are bad. But I will say, Twilight did spawn a really great Parks and Recreation episode with Will Forte, who basically chains himself in the office so he can get or because they want to put the Twilight books in the time capsule.
I just got to know what the two women are staring at in Jimmy's background, and I gotta think it's naked Dr. Manhattan.
He's just a giant blue dick, just like
Yes.
Remember, speaking of which, were you with me when we went to see The Watchmen, and the two guys in front of us were fine with the giant swinging blue dick, but then walked out because of the love scene on the Owlcraft? Was it you? Who was with me? It was Adam.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I saw that with you.
But yeah, there was
Somebody-
two guys in front of us that were they were fine with the giant swinging dick, but as soon as there was a heterosexual love scene, nope, we got to go.
well,
We're done with this.
Somebody has
A lot of
a
those,
serious misplace of
yeah.
disgust.
Yeah.
a lot of those guys are like that. Just
Well, hey, I
But
will.
as far as that movie goes, as far as the Watchmen movie goes, like I have always been a big fan of the Watchmen comic book. I like the graphic novel. I read it, and then I was so excited for when the movie came out, and I was like, it's not good, but it's not terrible.
You just
But-
described Zack Snyder's entire career.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the
It's not
giant
good,
blue dick,
but it's not terrible.
I've expected it. I was like, nah, no.
Yeah,
Totally expected that to be there.
That's like the ultimate review and tagline for the Rebel Moon movies.
Ugh.
It's not good.
But
Well, those were kind of
I've seen
terrible.
worse.
I would say that
Yeah.
was.
But at the same time, it's not Nicolas Cage in the Left Behind movie. It's not that level of bad.
Not the bees. I know it's a different movie, Left Behind, but still, it's one of his. I have to pay my back taxes checks.
Right.
man.
It's like you.
Hey,
Hey,
but you know what? That whole genre of Nick Cage paying his taxes and needing to shovel himself.
That
No,
needs to
it's
be
Superman
studied in
comics.
film school. There should be an
Right.
entire course on it.
Oh, absolutely. But there's some gems in there, like Pig.
Yeah.
Such a
Good-
great movie.
good
Such
movie.
A great movie. With such a stupid.
I
title.
like the Willy Wonderland movie. He doesn't have one line in it, but that's a fun movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Sorry to have derailed the show there. I do it all the time. I apologize.
I mean, Mandy's a good one. I mean, yeah, that we could. I think we did a podcast one time talking about is Nicolas Cage a bad actor, and it's like you're not. Or has he made a bad movie? I'm like, I don't think he's made like a bad movie. I mean, he's made some quality movies.
He's made some bad movies. He's just been good in them.
Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do agree. Here's the deal. He is in a lot of movies. Several of them are really, really freaking bad. But he just happens to be the best actor. It's like he does the best, most quality acting in the worst movies possible.
It's so jarring because it would be like watching Marlon Brando in his prime in a Naked Gun movie.
So the Island of Dr. Moreau remake, basically.
Okay, that's a great. Yeah, that's a good pull. Damn, I walked into that. Nice pull. Nice job. Hats off.
You know, the
to
best
sir,
part
'cause
about that movie is Val Kilmer
Val
talking.
Kilmer doing
That-
Marlon Brando. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. In the
I
documentary.
thought you were going to say the end, but not the actual ending. Just that it ended.
The lights coming on in the theater.
Yeah,
I saw it once in the theater, and in 30 years, I have
I
never.
haven't seen it again.
I've revisited Batman Forever and Batman and Robin before I would even go back.
Yeah,
and
but
do
I
that.
only did those by accident because they happened to be on TNT when I was channel surfing back in the day when that was a thing. And it was a rainy Saturday. And I'm like, oh, it's the worst Batman movie ever made. And I watched 5 minutes of it because I was bored.
No, I think
And then
the
Chris
one is the
O'Donnell
worst
hit me with
is
the Holy
worse.
Rusted Metal Batman line, and I had to change the channel.
Surprise, motherfucker.
No, come on.
You're welcome.
The Val Kilmer one is definitely not the worst. The George Clooney one.
No,
has
I was just
different
quoted the
nipples
George
on
Clooney one.
suit.
Yeah.
You had Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. You had Uma
Yeah, no, I
Thurman.
was talking about the George Clooney one. That's the Holy
Okay.
Rusted Metal one.
Is that
Yeah.
the line? I mean, again,
Oh.
I've only seen that movie like once.
Holy Roasted Metal is forever. Holy
No,
Roasted
that's
Metal
right. It is.
forever.
It's because it's right before he kills Two-Face.
Two-Face, yeah.
But that's a horrible line. I just remembered. Oh my god! I know I know you were gonna pull the Robin line
Hey,
somewhere, and
I
that's the
will
best
say
you could
this,
come up with.
though. Kudos to Jack and Mercedes Kilmer, his kids, who dressed
Yes.
up as Batwoman and Batman in honor of Val Kilmer this year for Halloween.
Even though he was wearing Christian Bale's suit, which I
hey,
thought was kind of weird. I'm
sure,
like,
whatever.
It's probably the one that's available.
yeah, probably.
Yeah,
You know.
but
Well,
still,
But you're Jack Kilmer. I think you could. He's probably,
yeah. I mean, right. But anyway, yeah, that's a whole nother like podcast down the road. Just talk about Nicolas Cage. I mean, it's hard when your peak is The Rock and then Con Air. Great double feature, by the way.
And right
it
in the
is.
snake eyes.
My
and you're,
favorite, my favorite line from that is many hands make light work. My daddy taught me that. You know what my daddy taught me? What? Nothing. Self-made man.
I want to,
like, how can you charm a serial killer? That's what I would like. They're the ones that are supposed to charm people before they kill them.
Next year would actually be the 30th anniversary of The Rock. I actually want to do a double feature outside of both those movies, just because the both of those movies had such a phenomenal cast.
Yeah.
It's like
Con Air. Oh my God!
Colm Meaney,
stars,
John Cusack,
poked out of his
Danny
head.
Trejo,
right.
John Malkovich, Ving Rhames.
One of the best lines ever, too. By the way, is like, breath smells like shit. He told me he loved me. I mean, it's one of the best Dave Chappelle lines ever.
I mean,
I forgot Chappelle was in it. Holy shit!
Yeah, put the bunny down.
Why didn't you put the bunny down?
back into the box?
Anyway, the greatest line about that movie, though, the greatest reference has got to be Simon Pegg in that movie, How to Win Friends and Alienate People, when he's talking about how Con Air is the greatest movie. It's got everything. It's got action. It's got comedy. John Cusack for the gays.
Jesus.
And you're like,
what?
Oh, no. Anyway.
I didn't need that clip. What did he say?
Oh, yeah, and I actually just put that on my Plex server. So,
oh Lord, help us!
Yeah.
That's freaking hilarious.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. All right, so yeah, that's what's going on with movies that you should check out. So, we're gonna get our little complaint session out of the way because it's this week's Sign of the Apocalypse, and I'm gonna start it off like this: Dear Microsoft and Xbox, you fucked up. At one time, we praised you for Game Pass, for it being economical, for the things that you were bringing in. You were finally getting good day one, sort of good day one games. And, we didn't have to waste $70 on Call of Duty and all this other shit. And we understand that, yes, prices go up. It happens in an economy. We get it. Wasn't really that pissed when you went up to $20 a month because you had EA Play on there. And I always praise EA Play as a subscription service because instead of having to pay full price for a new EA Sports game, I can pretty much do what I need to do to review the game with your free 10-hour trial. Okay. I mean, I've played my entire seasons of Madden with a 10-hour trial. But you fucked up this year. This will be the year where you have seriously screwed up when you decided to raise your price to $30 a month.
And to quote John Hanna, the very wise and powerful John Hanna.
Once again, the gods spread the cheeks to ram cock in fucking ass.
Just
You have to hit it with the fist as he did it too, because he.
Yes, Jupiter's cock.
Jupiter's cock.
What the hell?
Before heterosexual guys, we talked about a lot of cock in this episode.
I'm okay with it. Let's talk about more John Cusack movies.
Oh.
Anyway,
so Gross Point Blank.
Oh Lord, help us. We are off the rails.
Yeah, another great movie. But we've got to talk about what the fuck are you thinking? I get raising your prices a little bit.
I know exactly what they're thinking.
But
they're thinking they're they're thinking that in 1 or 2 generations, there's not going to be an Xbox. It's going to be a complete Netflix subscription service, and it's going to be tiered based on an ad-based tier, and then you're going to have multiple tiers of paid tiers, and it's going to be based on your you're going to be paying for faster download speeds, faster refresh rate, and faster connection times, and slower and quicker pings. And that's exactly what they're doing. They want to eliminate hardware. They want to eliminate physical media, and they want to have it completely as a subscription service where you, the consumer, are screwed and have no rights.
Yeah.
That is the end goal. And we know this because they've told us this. This is not a giant secret. This is not something I've inferred. The CFO of Microsoft has talked about this on with Wired Magazine, with Vanity. So this is not some giant secret. You can go look it up. It's out there. And they're already testing it in places like Brazil. And by the way, they've cranked up the top tiers so expensive that it's to get like day one games and all of that, that it's like 10% of the average household income in Brazil, which is a ridiculous luxury purchase. So, it's absolute garbage. They're greedy as shit, and they can kiss every square inch of my big Irish ass because I'm building a new computer, switching completely to Steam. I'm not buying another console ever again. And God help us when Gabe Newell dies, because gamers are at that point.
Well, supposedly Gabe Newell has been working pretty diligently to try to ensure that the way Steam is right now, the way Valve is running right now, will continue after he dies.
God bless him for the attempt.
How it's going to happen, but
yeah, exactly. God bless him for the attempt, but I mean, and if he manages to pull him off, I'll nominate him for sainthood myself. I don't care if he's Catholic or not.
Well,
here's the pulling him off. We might as well start talking about John Cusack movies again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to bring it back.
So here's the thing. 5 years ago, when we did one of our, I think it was our third magazine article, featured article, we were talking about who won the console war when the Xbox Series came out and the PS5. The Xbox Series has better hardware. It's faster and all that, and but Sony has always kind of prided itself on better graphics. Now, most of the time, you may not be able to tell much of a difference or anything like that, but Sony has always been able to beat Microsoft because of the brand more than anything else. And for 25 years, I mean, Microsoft has been able to compete. And at one time, the 360, was better than the PS3 and all that. You had this, and being able to download digital games and this, what they created at that time 20 years ago was revolutionary. But gamers, it always comes down to budget. So I want to put it into perspective when we complain that if you're going to pay $30 a month and you're not going to get that many great day one games, so great, you're giving me shitty Call of Duty games that I don't really want to play. Awesome. The Indiana Jones game, it was fun to play. It's a great day one game. But it's also a game that you could have waited 3 months later to get it on the PS5. And from what I understand, it's actually a little bit better graphics-wise because they've made updates and stuff to it. And my second playthrough will be on the PS5. So the top tier Sony PlayStation Plus subscription is $17.99 a month. If you added EA Play on top of that, so you're essentially paying what, $23 plus tax, come out to about $25 a month for those two things compared to Microsoft. And you're getting PlayStation's catalog, a lot better games that Microsoft doesn't have. Okay. Like right now, if the Silent Hill Silent Hill 2 remake that came out last year, that's on PlayStation subscription service. Okay, that's how I'm playing it. So everything that you can get from Microsoft with better games is going to be cheaper now. And in your attempt to compete with a subscription-based service to be better than Sony, you just lost.
They literally set themselves. Yeah, they literally set themselves back to the Xbox One PS4 launch where Xbox was like, yeah, we're going to have DRM, we're going to have all this. And Sony came out and just absolutely clowned them and literally turned them into a meme in the summer before both consoles launched. And PS4 sold like 100 million freaking units.
And it was $100 cheaper.
Yeah. And they absolutely crushed the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So yeah, they any momentum that they were built through the first couple of years, and this is, I think this is just a signal that they know they've lost the console war, and so they're just trying to recoup as much revenue as they can from people dumb enough to give it to them.
Yeah,
which is basically where Ubisoft is too, by the way, because while they're screwed, their freaking stock's down to $7.75 from $80-something a peak 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to go private eventually. They have to. Tencent's going to buy them out completely.
But again, let's look at really the games that most gamers are going to play. Okay, even if you're going to try it on a subscription service. And our gaming editor and I were talking about this when he finally was upgraded to a PS5 and got the subscriptions. Like, there's so many more games that I download with Sony now that I'm willing to pay that $17. Okay, compared to what Microsoft is doing. By the time,
and don't look now, but now Battlefield 6 is whooping Call of Duty's ass.
Oh, I know, and I'm halfway through the.
Who saw that coming 18 months ago?
Halfway through the campaign, thoroughly enjoying it. Every game that you might want to play that's going to be a day one game, okay, is also going to be available on PlayStation. So 2 months of paying for a subscription service to play this game, you might as well just buy it at retail or a third-party company where you're going to save a little money like Amoeba.com. I don't understand who's the idiot in the boardrooms that thinks this is a good idea that you're going to win with this shit. If there's any indication that you have fucking lost, when they announced this, the Xbox website crashed from everybody canceling their subscription.
We did.
Yeah. No, I'm done. I pay for it one more time. The games that I'm still playing that were on Game Pass, already bought them. I'm fucking done.
So you'll notice I changed the guys already saw this, but for the folks at home, you notice I already changed my my background because it's my next most anticipated game. The Outer Worlds 2 is already out. And even though I'm a huge Outer Worlds and huge Obsidian fan, I am not playing it yet because I am waiting for a couple of optimization patches on the PS5, and I'm going to buy it on the PS5 because I want as little of my money to go to Microsoft as possible.
Yeah.
And I know they're still going to get money from it. Like, I get that. I'm not completely naive. But they're going to get less money because Sony's going to get their cut. And I want at least a little bit to go to Sony because I'm voting with my wallet, and Microsoft can, as I said earlier, kiss every square inch of my big Irish ass.
So go ahead. I'm sorry, Jimmy. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, the deal is like, it's baffling all the way around. I mean, for all the points that you guys have put up, and they just came out with the their handheld, which lukewarm at best.
The Rogue Ally.
Yeah, which has been found to run better, by the way, with Linux than Microsoft.
Most things run better with Linux than Microsoft. It's not easy for your average person to run Linux.
So to that point, Microsoft is losing on all fronts. Mm-hmm. This is like the first year in like forever that I can remember so many people loudly saying they're jumping ship from Windows because Windows 11 is just getting worse and worse and worse. And
I don't even have Windows 11 on any of my systems.
The things that Microsoft is doing with their ads and the fact that their search is terrible, and it's endemic in all of their products. It's endemic in their Battle Pass, in their Game Pass. It's endemic in Windows. It's like everywhere you look, Microsoft has gone from the number one player in the world to, like, honestly, the number one just in the way. The only reason I use this is because I have to sometimes product.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be that product.
Well,
right? And it's just
it's still great hardware. You know, I own a lot of games on there. Uh, my biggest complaint too was the expansion sticks being so expensive. And what's hilarious is someone who owns a gaming company, you know, we do tournaments and all that. We relied on Game Pass, and I do stuff every month to, you know, have a lot of games. And now I'm like, well, I'm more focused on PS5s as I've upgraded everything and thinking about getting rid of some of the Xboxes I have and just getting more PS5s because they're more reasonably sound at this point. Now, Chad, you just finally got a PS5. You messed around with it and everything. I mean, I know you're a Microsoft guy. I know you've been, you know,
Actually, no, it's not that I'm a
Oh.
Microsoft guy. I really don't consider myself in any particular company's guy. You know, I will play what's good. I will play what I enjoy. I've had a PS4 for years, but it just kind of gathered dust because everybody else had an Xbox, so that's what I kind of gravitated towards.
Right.
And the PS5s got so damn difficult to obtain, you know, in the early part of their life cycle, and it just is one of those things that just kind of got put on the back burner. And my wife just from out of nowhere says, "Hey, you really want that sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." and the only way you can play it is on a PS5. And what does she do? She goes and gets is it YOTA or Yota?
Yotai.
YOTA. I've got that bundle. I mean, it's got the paint job on the freaking console and the control. It's beautiful. It looks like artwork. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it right now, and it's really stunning to look at. The game itself, bliss. It's Nirvana in your hand. You know,
I mean, I don't think
I'm reaccustomizing myself with the Sony ecosystem. You know, learning how everything works, and
I don't think the sequel is as good. I mean, I don't hate it as much as our gaming editor does, but it's fun and it's gorgeous. I mean, the graphics are insane and all that. And that's the thing that PlayStation has always kind of been better at is the better graphics going. So I'm kind of at the point now, other than the current sports games that I already bought, this is probably the last year that I will be doing it. And now I'm moving everything to PlayStation. I'm not going to get rid of my Xbox. But you know, what's the one thing that we usually all play together on Xbox anyway? It's just Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really gotten together to do anything else. You know, and the other game that squad-based game that we really like is on PlayStation. So
I'll keep the consoles I have for two reasons. One will be for when we move for the bedroom, and the other will be for the office. And that's so we can have, you know, access to Netflix and things like that in those rooms. And then if you want to play a game, it's there. But for what I'll be doing for my PC that I'm going to be building, it's not going to be a Windows PC. I'm going to build it with AMD components, and I'm going to run the Steam OS, which the Steam OS is a Linux-based OS. That's just an easier version. It is to Linux as Windows is to DOS. It's just an easier version of more friendly. It's what the Steam Deck runs. And so that's what I'm going to build because screw Microsoft.
Well, can I make a recommendation to you, Brendan?
Mm-hmm.
How many Xboxes do you have? I just
have the one Series X and the one PS5. One's gonna go on the TV in our office. One's gonna go on the TV.
Oh, that's right. You gave me back the Xbox One. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then or one's gonna go on the main TV. So or maybe we'll just put a Fire Stick on the main TV. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But point being is, it's just gonna be there for entertainment purposes.
Well, because like I was telling Marcus, like I've got a Xbox Series X and an Xbox One X, and I've taken the Xbox One X and I've put it into developer mode, so you can basically run all the old emulators on them. So I'm just gonna turn that Xbox into an emulation station.
Well, yeah, you can do that too, but yeah. So, but I'm gonna build a really badass new PC. I'm gonna use all AMD components, and I'm gonna dump the Steam OS on it, and that's just gonna be my gaming PC. That's what I'm gonna rock with.
Here's the other thing that Microsoft has really screwed up on too. So next year is the 25th anniversary of Halo. Awesome. Can't wait to do it. I'm taking old Xbox Ones, and we're going to basically make them Halo Xboxes. So it's going to put the Master Chief Edition on there and Guardians and whatnot. Going to buy all the games, don't have to be on, don't have to be on Game Pass to play them. So you're releasing Halo, the Anniversary Edition, Combat Involved that has new stuff. It's going to be available on PlayStation. It's like it's not even going to be strictly Xbox. So why the fuck?
Xbox doesn't believe in exclusives anymore.
They've
been very
if there was ever an indictment
transparent about
on how they feel about their own product, it's this.
Yeah.
The biggest game that they've ever had, ever.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, it's going to come out on the PS5, on the PlayStation. It's just, I mean, if you don't have any more of a clue that they don't back Xbox or their brand new handheld, it's that, in my opinion.
This is, to me, I liken it to the first time we ever saw Sonic the Hedgehog on something other than a Sega console. It was like, wow, I never thought I would live to see this day, but it was because Sega basically doesn't have a choice. Microsoft does. But they're doing it anyway.
No, Microsoft doesn't. Microsoft absolutely doesn't. They don't have the install. They don't. They are being sold 2 to 3 to 1 PS5 versus Xbox Series X. So they do not have the install base that is going to allow them to sell enough units to recoup the cost of making their game. Especially big games like Halo and Call of Duty. They need those games to go wide. They need those games to be on PC. They need those games to be on PS5 in order for them to have a chance to be profitable. Microsoft they have screwed themselves to the point where they do not have a choice. They cannot have exclusives anymore because they don't have the install base to do so. And this is why they want to get away from making hardware and physical media in the first place and become completely a subscription-based streamable system.
Yeah, and you've pretty much all told us now that at one time we thought Elder Scrolls 6 would strictly be on Xbox. Yeah, you've pretty much told us that that's not going to be.
That's not going to be the case anymore.
Which, by the way, that's even if Bethesda makes it to make Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5.
By the way, a lot of the big gaming companies have basically come out and said we don't see any benefit of doing anything with our old IPs anymore. Capcom recently, by the way, just said we're not doing anything with our old IPs. We're not re-releasing them. We're not doing anything. So, I guess just
and the other thing is too, after Starfield, does anybody really? I mean, first of all, Bethesda has been, and I mean the core Bethesda. I don't mean ZeniMax Online Studios or anybody else under the Bethesda umbrella. I'm talking about Bethesda Game Studios. They have been so creatively stagnant over the last 15 years since they've lived off Skyrim for 15 years now. Okay, 14, but you get the point. The first new thing they dropped took 8 years to make, and it was a giant empty mess.
And you didn't even have the wherewithal like CD Projekt to basically rebuild it and make a new like Cyberpunk, which turned out to be a really good game afterward. Yeah. So it's like
they still insist. There was a guy who I forget who it was, but it wasn't Todd Howard, but it was some other bigwig at Bethesda who insists that Skyrim is a good game or Starfield is a good game, and that players just abandoned them, and it's the players' fault why it failed. No, it's your fault because you didn't make a game worth buying.
I'm sorry, are you Randy Pitchford of Gearbox making?
Oh shit!
Oh, don't even get me started on that sweaty cunt.
Yeah, I'm like, I was really complain. I was finishing an article and had really great quotes from like their marketing guy and some of the developers, and I felt bad for them. It's like it's not a bad game. It isn't. It's fun. But every time this guy opens his mouth making excuses, I'm like, just shut the fuck up and say, there's bugs. We're working on, we're going to drop some patches like every other game. It'll get fixed.
And here's a huge problem with the gaming industry. Okay. The gaming industry is being driven by quarterly sales reports and the stock market.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the only thing that industrial stock investors like BlackRock and Vanguard understand is pretty pixels. Okay, so what they're doing is they're maximizing and they're prioritizing, especially with Unreal 5, which causes another whole, like even the people who created Unreal 5 Epic, they're like, people are not optimizing their games right. Instead of optimizing for the mid-range, they're optimizing for the top, and then they're scrambling at the last minute to try and optimize for the mid-range, and it never really works. You have to start with the mid-range. So they're cutting off 80% of the PC market because most people aren't running 4500s and 5000 cards from Nvidia because they can't bloody afford them because the crypto nuts have driven the prices all through the damn roof. So they're literally building games for the top 10% of the market and then wondering why 80% of the market ain't buying it. Well, because they can't bloody run it. And then you've got the dumbass nerve to come out and say, well, we made a premium game for premium gamers. No, you idiot. You just shot yourself in the ass and you're too freaking stupid to understand why.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I get very passionate about that.
No,
it's
no, that's
bloody
fine.
Oh, it's
stupid.
good. It's good to hear.
Like I said, part of a larger conversation that we will continue to have. But again, this month's Sign of the Apocalypse is just we've seen the end of Microsoft trying to be competitive and trying to be good. And what used to be a great subscription-based service. And granted, you starting that was awesome. And it was great 5 years ago.
Until it wasn't.
But now, I'd rather just buy the games. So every game that you're going to release around the holidays that are going to be day one games, I'll wait a month till you do the Black Friday deals for a few weeks. And then I'll just buy a hard copy. And I did that with the remastered Oblivion. I'm just like, if I got a copy for $28, and that's it. I'm not, and I'll do the same with Doom Dark Ages. There's nothing that I play that requires having Game Pass. And you're going to see more and more people do that, which is hilarious because the third-party site that I always go through, Aniba.com, and I wish they were paying me to promote, but at this point, I'm just like, just go there. You'll find better deals.
Here's the great irony of all of this. I've already talked about how Ubisoft is probably going to go private here because they just can't meet sales goals. EA already is going private. We're waiting on confirmation federal level, and with the shutdown, who knows when the hell that's going to happen. The company I work for, which I won't talk about on this program, but we're going through a similar thing right now. But the great irony of this is that what might actually save Electronic Arts is freaking Donald Trump's son-in-law and a Saudi prince, because they're going private and they're buying all the stock, and because they don't have to make quarterly reports, they can actually, now they have a chance. I'm not saying it will happen. There's a chance it could happen that if they just say, hey, we're going to give you a bag of money, but we want to see really good games and we want to see the return on the profit. So we want to see smaller teams. We want to see streamlined development. We don't want bloated teams. We don't want crunch in 2 years. We want 5-year games. Look at what Baldur's Gate 3 did. Look at what Clara Obscura did. Look at what, Shovel Knight did, or Hollow Knight did. Hell, that was one dude. So we want smaller teams working on more games, but longer development cycles and staggered releases instead of releasing 27. Like, that's another problem in the market right now is there's so many games releasing. Even if you of the four of us all bought 3 different games, okay, this year or before Christmas, that'd be 12 games. There's like 50 games launching between now and the end of the year.
Well,
how are we going to play all that?
The problem you're describing is across the board for almost all media.
100%.
Yeah.
It's just more, I think it's just more acutely felt in the video game market.
So we are going to move on. Like I said, this is part of a larger conversation that we're going to have towards the end of the year, especially when we talk about game of the year and some of these sequels that don't measure up. But I will end it with this. When they announced that EA was going to go private, and I agree with Brendan, let's take the politics out of it about Donald Trump's son-in-law and Saudi, all that. Am I the only one that imagined the line at the end of Batman Begins. What makes you think you can do that? Because I own the company. And
Don't you get the memo?
Yeah. What's important is that Wayne Enterprises is in, the proper hands.
My company is in good hands.
Right, exactly. Didn't you get the memo? And it might start a trend. And that's something we're going to talk.
By the way, R.I.P. Rutger Hauer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we got a lot of those to address this week too.
One of the greatest, one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood for the last 40 years. Blind Justice will forever be one of my favorite 1980s action movies.
You mean Blind Fury? Yeah,
Blind Fury. Excuse me, Blind Fury.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But at the same time, Hobo with a Shotgun is just a fun movie.
It's greatness.
Yeah. All right.
Hell, it created an entire subclass in D&D called Murder Hobos.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I need a beer. Excuse me.
Love it. All right. Well, Chad, definitely going to get more involved with the PS5. And we definitely got to, once everything is set up and ready to go, we definitely got to jump into Predator Hunting Grounds, which is one of the greatest squad-based games. But yeah, congratulations, Microsoft. You have, it's almost like you've done an unconditional surrender by raising prices. So yay! Anyway.
You played yourself.
You raise the white flag and you charge $29.99 for it.
Yeah, I think Sony should be playing the Prince song from Batman. There's a new King.
All hail.
Or Hail to the Victors. Was that Notre Dame's fight song?
That could be too. All right. So we're going to get into part 2 of sci-fi movies that transcended the genre. Now, the reason Jimmy and I have not talked about Tron Ares is we wanted to tie it into talking about the greatness of the first Tron movie and then how Disney fucked everything up. Which seems to be same old story.
It's a pattern forming here.
Which I find ironic because we are going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens and the beginning of their sequel trilogy. And it's just like,
It is amazing what 20 years can do, like 30 years. Because when we were in high school, man, Disney was on such a heater, man. They were everything they released was just a hit after hit, banger after banger. Hell, they were like, all right, hey, Phil Collins, do a soundtrack for Tarzan, but it doesn't need to be too great. And he just went harder than anybody ever needed to. And,
by the way, and speaking of soundtracks, at the time, only Disney could get Rod Stewart, Bryan Adams, and Sting together to sing one of the greatest fucking songs for one of the funnest movies ever, The Three Musketeers.
Yeah, it might be the most recognizable power ballad of all time. And it's for a Three Musketeers movie. With Oliver Platt, Charlie Sheen, Chris O'Donnell, and Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
And by the way, Tim Curry's the villain.
Tim Curry chewing every scene up he was in.
Oh, yeah.
One less mouth to feed.
By the way, yeah, that definitely going to have to go watch that again. So,
to what you were just saying about like Disney just tearing it up, it can be tied directly into what has happened to Tron. FYI. So the
Go ahead.
70s was like the dark period for Disney. Like,
right.
If there was like going to be a moment when Disney was just going to eat it and just not be. Now they made some bangers. You got Robin Hood. The greatest furry creation movie of all times, and some of the best. Some of the best music, in my opinion. For a Disney movie of all time. You got, of course, Tron came out, but they were just losing their shit all over the place.
Yeah.
Then the 80s came around, and then they started putting out these bangers. You got Beauty and the Beast, you got Little Mermaid, you've got then the 90s, you got Toy Story, you got it wasn't not Toy Story, but you got Lion King, you got banger after banger. That period. Okay, Tron was at the tail end of just losing left and right. Okay, and where we are with Disney right now is because of just the sheer momentum that we're still seeing from their just 90s and early 2000s just owning everything, which is the only reason why they're able to buy.
And it was
Star
Michael.
Wars.
Yep.
The only reason they're able to buy Fox is because of that 25-year period.
And to me, that philosophical change though is what doomed them, because under Michael Eisner they created, under Bob Iger they acquired.
Yes.
And they got rid of a lot of the Imagineers that came up with their biggest stuff. And guess who they're working for now? Oh yeah, Epic Universe.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, and I was going to start the Tron thing.
No, I finished my point. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah.
So with the original Tron, you had, because this, that era of the 70s was such this like dark period for they were like, Walt Disney was dead. They were, trading CEOs left and right. They were losing hemorrhaging money. They were
arguing with Walt's brothers
type of films. Because you had their sci-fi movie that was supposed to be like their Star Wars movie, but
The Black Hole,
which was terrible.
Oh,
The Black Cauldron 2, which was, by the way, their very first animated film that didn't have a score. It was not a musical.
it was dark.
And honestly, not a very good movie.
No.
But it holds like this point. And then you have Tron. No other science fiction film to that date had really there was video game. You had like, My Son the Computer, and you had this, that, and the other type of like
The computer wore tennis shoes and shit like that.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
One of Kurt Russell's earliest gems.
Yeah, but this was a very different take, where you took you into the world of computers, and it imagined computers as their own contained universe.
Exactly. And because it was so different, they took such a, they were innovating. No other movie was shot like this. They wanted it to look like that 1980s, 1970s era cabinet style arcade game. They wanted the actors to look like it, but not look like crap. They didn't want 8-bit, right? But they got in that style. Everything they did with special effects was just completely over the top. To the point where if you watch the original Tron, everything that glows in the original Tron, it's not CG. It's not early computer graphics, even though that technically existed at the time. It was all hand painted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every single frame of Tron was hand painted, and it was all shot in black and white. So everything you see that's color that was in the video game world was completely at 100% hand painted.
To your point, this is how much they innovated. In 1982, Tron set a record for having the most special effects shot of any film at that point in time, with approximately 1,100 special effects shots. Wow. While that's a small number today, that is a massive number compared to other films of its era. For example, the original Star Wars in 1977 had 365 shots, and it almost doubled The Empire Strikes Back, which came out 2 years earlier, which had 600 special effects shots.
Exactly. I really enjoy it. Is the story like epic? No, it's a very simple story. But I think that's kind of part of its charm. You don't need to have a complicated story for such a cool idea.
The Goonies is a very simple story, and it's incredibly endearing.
Exactly. And here's one of the things where I think the in my opinion, the failing of the newer movies is, and the last movie that came out 10 years ago, and then you got this movie, or 15 years ago, is the fact that they became all about the special effects and the soundtrack. You had, it is. The soundtrack for the original Tron, it sounded cool, but it was still orchestra music. It was still, it was fine.
Right. I hate when anybody talks about a movie and they talk about everything but the story. The effects are great. The shots are amazing. The soundtrack is wonderful. Okay, but was it a good story? Well, not really. Okay, so there's no real point. I can just buy the soundtrack and call it a day.
Let Marcus tell this story. What did I say before the film started? Like,
it'd be more about the special effects and the soundtrack. Yeah, or the music. Yeah, the story was set. But here's the thing. I disagree with you about Tron.
Legacy?
Yeah. I still think it's a great
So do
movie.
I love
It-
Legacy.
Yeah. Now, is it more heavy on the music and special effects? Yes. Was it able to use James Cameron's motion capture technology and perfect a little bit better beyond Avatar? Yes. All of that stuff. I still think it's a great story because it is a family story. It connects. It's a father and son story. And it bursts the idea of, a living AI and turns the idea of what these digital isotopes are and how it changes everything. And it makes a really cool concept beyond the dangers of AI, that it's a Terminator that wants to destroy, and it turns it on its head too, beyond Star Trek and Data learning to be more human and all that. Tron Ares sort of takes these concepts but shits all over them. I think Tron Legacy is an endearing story. I think it's and it's also about when your creation and your search for perfection. Okay, it's a Frankenstein story too. When you are trying to play God with something or whatever turns on you. Okay, is it as good as the original one? No, I don't think it is. But I think it's a much better story and an endearing story. This movie that we saw, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Also, in support of Tron Legacy, real quick, at least they had the decency to have Tron in it.
I completely
Yeah.
get that too.
They called Bruce Boxleitner and said, Bruce, we'd love you to come back. We want you to have a cameo in the Outer World, and then we're going to have a digital recreation of you younger as Tron, although it wasn't called Tron because he was corrupted. I get that point, but we all knew it was fucking Tron. Anyway, but at least Tron was in the movie. The movie's called Tron.
And he's in
To your
and
point.
he's in, go ahead.
No, to your point. That's what I said. Jared Leto's character should have been Tron.
Or at least
Yeah.
Tron
Who that
2.0
should have
or
been.
something.
Yeah.
You know,
At least also Bruce Bucklighter's, Alan in Tron's character was instrumental in the Flynn Lives movement and what he was trying to do in the vision.
I think we lost Marcus. Or did I lose you? I think I lost you. I'm going to shut up.
All right.
Bro,
Sorry. I
We're
think
all
my
here.
computer froze. Sorry.
Okay. Well, sound check real quick. Can you hear me and see me?
Roger,
Yes.
I can hear everything.
All right. Everybody can hear everybody? I don't see anything on this. Okay.
Roger.
Check
I
the
love the 10-minute short film that explains how he is behind the Flynn Lives movement, that his vision for Encom and trying to take away from the Dillingers and all that. And when we complain about, the gaming industry, I always go back to that one. Like, well, what's different about this operating system? We put a 12 on the box.
Zero put a 12 on the box. Like, oh, so it's Madden.
Right, pretty much. That's why I don't think it's as bad of a story. But in thinking about this movie, what they're trying to do, the whole point of it is, we're trying to find the code that can bring stuff from the real world. Here's my biggest problem, and I didn't put it in my review because I really thought about it afterwards, and I'd love to go back and talk about it. So you're doing a code that's based on bringing AI into the real world. Okay, there's a code. How is this not tied into Cora, who came in from the fucking digital world and is basically an isotope? But there's no mention of her. There's nothing. There's like one little mention of, well, Sam Flynn had to step down for personal reasons. And then you have some little thing of a picture of him and I guess Cora at the very end. And, Jared Leto's character, Ares, is going to go find them. What the fuck is up with this code? Isn't she the code? Isn't she the answer? And we don't mention her. It's like, who wrote this shit? Did you see the previous movies before you started writing?
Is it
and
just
the
my
fact-
imagination, or has Jared Leto become the new Ted McGinley?
Okay, just before we get into Jared Leto, because I have like a whole thing about that I didn't even talk about him in my review, just because I didn't want to derail. I couldn't even derail myself that much. But to your point, Marcus, the fact that they had the code, it was on their server the whole time. I mean, I'm sorry, spoiler alert for anyone who is thinking about watching this Drek. Yeah, they had it on oh my god, on servers that are like 40 years old, on floppy disks. So you know what? As bad as Microsoft's search engine is, I'm sure they could have found it by now.
Can you? I just have a quick question, and I mean this. This is an earnest question. Can you spoil dog shit?
Well, I hear it used to be white and now it's not, but that's because they changed dog food.
I don't know.
So anyway,
It-
so to Jared Leto, he doesn't act in the movie. He just is in the movie. He doesn't
Yeah.
actually do any acting.
He Jared Leto's.
Yeah.
And
Did he say
I
it was
think
Tron in time?
the biggest indictment that we have for about this is the fact that star power, in my opinion, no longer works as a vehicle to move bad movies and make them popular.
Well, because we don't have many true movie stars left. Tom Cruise. I mean, Jared Leto is not a big time movie star.
Never really has been.
And hell, even Tom Cruise who's the last one, really. It didn't do much for the last two Mission Impossible movies, which weren't terrible, but
they weren't Maverick, unfortunately.
And they weren't Maverick. And they
Yeah, I
have
don't think
30
people
years of
care.
nostalgia behind them.
You know what you were saying earlier about so many video games coming out. It's the same thing with media in general. What I was saying is like movies. There's so many movies coming out. There's so much stuff coming out on streaming. So much.
Yeah.
How are you going to have star power? How are you supposed to like Jared? Why is Jared Leto's name at the top? Who cares?
And with Sora, people are going to be kicking out shit on AI and throwing it on their YouTube channel.
Well, the AI discussion that's going into movies, that's another topic. And
well, I'm just talking about individual creators, because it's going to get to the point where people are going to get so pissed off with companies like Disney, and they're going to go, "Hey, Sora, tell me a story about Luke Skywalker 10 years after the Return of the Jedi, loosely based off the expanded universe." And it's going to come up with, and in 10 years, it's going to be able to come up with a completely AI done story based off of your parameters. And you're going to get to watch your 30-minute or 2-hour movie. That's going to be your personal Star Wars movie.
Well, some of these little shorts that are coming out that of these characters, I'm like, this is still better storytelling than what Disney has fucking come up with. But
I also think a big part of, let me jump in, and Marcus, I think you'll agree with this, being a published writer yourself. I think the Writers Guild of America have done themselves absolutely no favors, because they're with the new contracts, they have demanded that all of these writer rooms have multiple writers. And I understand why everybody wants a job. I get it. But when you have a singular creative vision, you have a chance of a great creation. When you have too many cooks in the kitchen, there's a reason why we have a freaking saying for it. That vision gets fractured, and you end up with shit like The Witcher.
Well,
yeah, that was almost this week's Side of the Apocalypse, but that's a whole other can of worms. We're not going to get into that, but that's another thing about writing in Hollywood and whatnot. Getting back to Tron Ares, there's so many fucking plot holes that have nothing to do with the other two movies, except we've got the grandson of Dillinger, and his mom was played by Gillian Anderson. And what a waste of talent in that movie. She did nothing. And then you fucking kill her character, and it's like, to escape the police, grandson Dillinger is going to put himself in his own digital world and be like grandpa. And we've talked about it. If you don't understand the sandbox that you're playing in, quit fucking writing it.
Get out of the sandbox.
I love how the other CEO, like, all of a sudden becomes a ninja on a motorcycle, killing guys with her motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
without any explanation whatsoever. Like all of a sudden, she can just use the motorcycle as if it's a missile.
The thing
Yeah.
is like, and all of these things that you're talking about, the fact that basically they start applying because all of a sudden they bring somehow the video game, machines, characters, everything into the real world. Not only do we have the objects in the real world, but somehow the video game logic also starts applying to the new world, which is basically just magic. Like the amount of ribbon trails that they put into this movie for
Right.
vehicles that never had ribbon trails. like
Right.
the only thing in Tron, the original movie, that had a ribbon trail was the
The light cycle.
the life cycles, and
Yeah.
now everything has them, and they're so weird and just.
Also, thank you for the
They
wasted
made it
cameo
magic instead of
with
video
Jeff
games.
Bridges, which is not even really Kevin Flynn. It's just a manifestation on his own little private server. It has nothing to do. It's like you have no connection. The only connection you have to like the original movie and even Tron Legacy is you've mentioned Kevin Flynn and what he did, and there was the Dillingers. That's it. But you've ignored the storytelling and the lore that you built. Now, I've heard it's funny. A critic friend of mine who's part of the North Texas Film Critics. I'm not going to call him out or anything because I love him to death. He's a great critic, and he praised this movie, but he also admitted he had never seen the other two. And I'm like, tell me that. Go watch the other two movies, understand the story, and then get back to me and see if you're still praising it. Because
let me ask you guys something. Panel question here. I want all your opinions on this. Do you think that when this movie was done and they finished editing it and they screened it for Bob Iger and the brass at Disney, do you think they all looked at each other and said, "Oh yeah, this is going to go great," or do you think they turned to each other and went, "Fuck"?
Dude,
I
I
think
think they looked at each other and said, "Do you think we're going to make a profit?" And then they said, "Yeah, we'll make a profit." And then they turned around and they left the room. I don't even think they watched it.
I think they did just enough to release it because they had already made the movie and they needed to make their money back. You know, they couldn't take the write off the same way that Warner Brothers shelved the Batgirl movie, you know. But at the same time, I mean, getting back to why Tron transcended the genre, we'd never seen that before. And there are so many movies that followed kind of what the digital world looks like. I mean, Hackers, the great that came out 30 years ago with Angelina Jolie and Johnny
Lee Miller.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Um, that was a really interesting concept about hacking with great colors and what the digital world looked like, and it was very 90s, and it's very different than war games, but it worked. Okay. Also, it gives us the great line, "Hack the planet," which I think is very relevant 30 years later. And again, I think they took their cue from how they thought the digital world would look like from Tron. And that's awesome. That's a great homage to it. But this piece of shit.
Which, by the way, Hack the Planet sounds like a plot for a Bond villain.
Isn't that simply what his face was trying to do in No Time to Die? Sounds like I need to go back and watch that. I haven't watched that movie since we saw it in the theater. But I gotta. But anyway, I digress. Tron will always be one of the best sci-fi movies. Okay, and over 40 years later, still one of the best things. And even Tron Legacy is a very worthy sequel. But this piece of shit.
Let me tell you
Okay.
something. If you want to see something with Tron actors in it or anything that has anything to do with Tron, save yourself from this piece of shit and just go watch some Babylon 5 and see Bruce Boxleitner and Peter Jurasik.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And all of these actors have gone on and done, you know, very wonderful things outside of Tron Legacy, and I'd rather watch them than other things. And to your point about like writers' rooms, you know, and I feel like this is a movie that was very much written by a writer's room who didn't understand the world that they were playing in. To Taylor Sheridan's credit, who writes really good stories.
He writes what he knows.
He writes what he knows. It's his single vision. There's not a writer's room. He wrote every fucking episode of Yellowstone. Love or hate it. It's his vision. Everything, his universe is his vision. And by the way, dear Paramount, fuck you. How did you screw that one up? I'm going to go get a bigger deal.
I like literally Paramount Plus is built on the backs of Taylor Sheridan shows.
I know.
Well, they're keeping them until 28, right?
Right.
On TV. They're maintaining that through 28. So
yeah, he's got some stuff that he's going to fill out. I think
got Nola King coming out. He's got a couple more seasons of Tulsa King. He's got.
Yeah.
I don't know if the 4/6 thing is ever going to happen. That's supposed to be a
I
Yellowstone.
don't know if
spinoff.
that one will happen. I think 1944 will probably happen.
Yeah, that one's probably filming right now, actually.
And then he's got the Madison, the spinoff. But I can't wait. And you know, and it also
and then he's got to finish off Mayor of Kingstown too.
Which is shit. Thank you for reminding me about that.
Yeah,
that's another good one. I know that just started again. But this is also why I have hope for the Call of Duty movie. Because I'm like, well, Taylor Sheridan is writing it, and even though Peter Berg made Battleship, and as Brendan has pointed out, that was just a bet that out Michael Bay. At least
I'll give it this: if you just divorce yourself of any knowledge of the Navy, it's a fun movie. But you have to divorce yourself of any knowledge of the Navy.
Right.
I have to forget that I served for 7 years, and that's not how a battleship works. And no, you can't do an anchor turn like you could with an Age of Sail ship with a 65,000-ton warship.
Right. All right. But anyway, talking about sci-fi movies, Tron, great movie. Tron Legacy, worthy sequel. Tron Ares, don't bother. There's no point to it. Forget that it exists. And I'll say this about Gerald, because Jimmy and I were talking about this as we were watching theater. I feel like he's only made 2 really good movies in the last 30 years since he came off that show, My So-Called Life. Dallas Buyers Club, great movie. Him and Matthew McConaughey both won an Oscar. And then there's a great gem that came out in 1996 called Switchback. Dennis Quaid, Danny Glover's the villain.
The best movie performance he ever did was getting his ass kicked by Ed Norton in Fight Club.
Look, Jared Leto, actually, you know what? I had to go back. He had a strong 90s showing. I believe he was in Requiem for a Dream.
That's right. The heroin
he was in Switchback. He was, he had a strong late 90s, early 2000s showing
run, and then it just
you got all weird. And
so the last thing I would say about Tron is the fact that it's like I don't know what Disney expected or why they chose to do this, because here's the deal: Tron was always, even when it was new, niche.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not good. I feel like they tried to make a blockbuster out of a very niche product, and I don't think it ever had. Never. A chance.
This movie should have been a $50 million passion project, not a $250 million.
Well, and the other thing too is you should have completed the trilogy with Sam Flynn, Cora.
Sure, 100%.
But yeah, that's what your story should have been about.
It was a movie for an audience that didn't exist. They overspent on it. They cast improperly. They wrote it poorly. This movie from the ground up was doomed to fail because it was a house of cards built on quicksand.
Greta Lee was good in it. I'll give her that. And she's a good actress, but I'm that. All right. So, as we kind of start getting towards the end of this podcast, we actually wanted to attach sci-fi with a little bit of a horror theme. So the next movie that we're going to talk about, we got to talk about Ghostbusters. Just how it kind of transcended horror, sci-fi, all of it, comedy, and why the original Ghostbusters is still a treasure. Chad,
it still holds up.
Yeah, Chad, I'm going to start with you. Tell us why this movie is great. Why do you still love this movie? I'm going to give a challenge too. Tell us why you love this movie without mentioning Bill Murray. I'm just kidding.
Well, given that Bill Murray was not the first choice for this part,
I know.
only because we lost John Belushi.
Yeah.
And the fact that what could have been, as great as this movie is, I will never forget going to the UA Town E6 to see this opening night in 1984. And then finding out later what it almost was. That it was almost, if John hadn't overdosed, it was almost John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Eddie fucking Murphy.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I mean,
I know.
you talk about the stars aligning. I mean, that I can't imagine what that movie could have been had it been made the way that they were originally talking about it. But that movie crossed so many barriers. It set a gold standard for this type of film that I don't think existed before this film got made. I mean, can you honestly think of a film that preceded this that could fit in that same, you know?
So you're saying that Don Knotts and the Ghost of Mr. Chicken is no.
Okay, well, okay. If we want to if we want to
I'm just kidding.
cast that wide of a net, then okay. But as
Hold
far
on. The Ghost of Mr. Chicken is a banger.
oh no. I'm not pissing on
No,
the
it's a
Ghost of
good
Mr.
movie.
Chicken.
I'm not. Yeah.
But I'm saying as far as star power, effects, and writing that just worked
Right.
on a level that could have been looked at as pure cheese and kitsch and spoof, but it worked. They created a world that you really believed existed.
Well, it's also the first time that we hear about, the EMF, the electromagnetic, field in pop culture and how it would work. If it weren't for this movie, I don't think we would understand. I don't think the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze we would understand that, or wouldn't make as much sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why you are able to believe it so readily is because at the beginning they're thrown out of college and they're called frauds, and real scientists don't believe them. They call them poor scientists. Your methods are sloppy.
You're a poor.
Yeah, poor scientist, Dr. Venkman. So yeah, I think that, like, even in the movie, even in the movie universe, they're looked at as frauds and charlatans until events prove them not. And so I think that's what makes it very easy to slide into the universe and be like, okay, even there, people are questioning them. So I think that really is a great device used by the movie to get people to suspend disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also feel that Ghostbusters,
Dean
some
Yeager,
people
by the way.
may not even like this, but the thing is like that era, the early 80s really marked the time. Like I was saying, the 70s, we had some great movies in the 70s, but it was a dark period for a lot of genres and a lot of different movies, and the writing was not great, for a lot, right? And I feel like with movies like Ghostbusters, and you had such big names like Harold Ramis, he's huge, right? He gave us so much gold. That era really kicked off with movies like Ghostbusters.
Stripes.
Stripes,
Caddyshack.
Stripes, Canadian Bacon. You
Yep.
got Groundhog Day. These are all the same small group of SNL guys. They're all Harvard graduates.
All lampooners.
Yeah.
They're all lampooners. And and like all the Chevy Chase movie vehicles, Spies Like Us, it all started in that early, right at the tail end of the 70s into the 80s.
And then you get directors like Ivan Reitman, Jonathan Landis from that group.
By the way, my favorite thing about Canadian Bacon, all the conservatives that hate the documentarian Michael Moore, I always like to poke fun. I was like, I bet there's one movie by Michael Moore that you love and think is funny. What? Canadian Bacon. He wrote that movie. That's the one fictional movie that he wrote, and he's got the great cameo as like a gun nut. And they're like, I'm like, no, that's that Michael Moore.
Yep.
Oh, it's such a great movie.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing is the 80s and 90s, it's just unfortunate that so many of those guys who made that 2 decade span are pretty much either retired or dead, and no one picked up the mantle or is able to do it like them. Like
Hey, I've been saying
who
for
are
years
their
we
proteges?
peaked as a society in the 80s and 90s.
Mhm.
One of my kind of favorite things about Ghostbusters, yeah, Bill Murray is great, has the best lines in that movie, and there's so many things that you really kind of miss if you're not paying attention. I mean, I think the first couple of times I watched that movie, I missed the line about, "Hey, everything would have been all right if Dickless over here hadn't shut down the containment center." I was like, "Is that true?" Yes,
Yes,
This
it's
is
true.
true.
This
This
man,
man has
has
no
no
dude.
dick. Well, it's just what I heard.
Well, that's what I heard. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
That's
No,
correct.
but I honestly, as much as all those guys are great, I've always loved the voice of the audience in a movie, because I always love when you say something in your head and then a character in the film says it, and it's like, okay, they're acknowledging what they know the audience must be thinking. And in this movie, that's Winston.
Yes.
yes,
You know, shit that will turn you white.
That's a big Twinkie.
That's a big Twinkie. Because everybody was thinking it.
right.
You know,
I mean, just
Even when they hired him, he was like, "Look, if there's a state
Hey,
paycheck,
paycheck in it.
I'll believe anything you say. My God, have I thought the same thing over and over again?
Yeah,
you know,
it's like you get interviewed for a job. It's like, how are you gonna carry out our mission for our company? It's like, you really want to say, it's like, I don't give a shit about your mission. Can I cash the check?
Will they keep my lights on?
However you tell me to do it, drill sergeant.
Yeah. Yes, drill sergeant.
it's probably, and it's also one of the first like ghost movies that blends a little bit of horror, comedy. There's just so many great things about it.
Action, romance.
Yeah. I was doing a movie party at an apartment complex the night before Halloween and had
So
a
you're-
bunch of movies. And the one movie they all chose was like, no, we want Ghostbusters. It's not,
Well played.
it's not better if they've seen it 100 times just to sit outside, watch Ghostbusters and everything. So I get it. Ghostbusters 2, it's a very worthy sequel.
So before you get away from that, so Halloween night, that's when you know it's a quality household, in my opinion. I was taking my daughters trick-or-treating. One household had Ghostbusters projected on the side of their house. Not only were they giving candy to the kids, they had another guy who says adult trick-or-treats over here, and he was handing out Jello shots. And
Nice.
quality.
Bravo.
Like, it's like,
Yes.
sir, I want to be your friend.
That's like we need that gif of I forget which basketball player it is, but it's you the real MVP.
So I want to hit that
Kevin
house
Durant,
like
I think
3
it's
times on our way around the block. You know.
Yeah. It's like
Well, and I love the cosplayers in the groups that do a lot of work. And
are you drunk? No, I'm trick-or-treating.
Yeah. So
I've been
like
trick-or-treating at the same house for 6 hours.
Ghostbusters
I can't feel
2,
my legs.
very worthy sequel, a lot of fun. And
Got way too much hate. Way too much hate. It did not deserve it. I always loved Ghostbusters 2. Is it as good as the original? No, nothing ever will be. But it was great. Peter McNichol was hilarious.
You're like the buzzing of flies to him.
Why am I drippings with goo?
but even the Ghostbusters kind of reboot, or what would be Ghostbusters 3 that came out in 2017, and then Frozen Empire, I still think are very worthy sequels and connect to that original universe, and a great nod to Harold Ramis after he passed away. I think McKenna Grace, who we've interviewed, is perfect casting for Spangler's granddaughter. And you can't beat the original, but they're not so cheesy that they ruin the franchise either.
No, you just have to be a love letter to the original.
Right. And the same love for the lore and everything. It's a lot of fun. It's not, and I don't want to hate on the old girls Ghostbusters movie. I mean, it's an okay movie for what it is.
I'll hate on it for you then.
Yeah, same here.
That's fine. I don't hate all of them. I like some of the jokes. I love the actions, but
I don't hate the people involved. but
No.
the writing was atrocious.
Yeah, that movie had no reason to exist.
I'm not saying it should have been made, but it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Hey, I would
That's a
rather
low
watch
bar,
that. No, hey, I would watch that movie again before I watch Tron Ares. I'll throw that down.
I mean, if you put a gun to my head, I might choose the bullet.
No, okay, look. No, Marcus made the joke. It's like, it's like at least it wasn't Joker. I was like, I don't know. At least
Well, it was damn near Morbius.
Yeah, I almost said that I would rather watch the Joker Part 2 again, or Doe, or whatever it's called.
Better
Or
man.
his version of the Joker was
Folly. By
terrible.
the way, Ghostbusters 2, the only reason I think that Ghostbusters 2 kind of gets shit on is because it came out in 1989. And
With
that
Batman and Lethal Weapon 2 and fucking
well,
Indiana
Batman,
Jones and the
Lethal
Last
Weapon 2, Back to the
Crusade.
Future 2. You had Indiana Jones, Last Crusade.
Mhm.
You had Uncle.
It was a great summer.
Yeah.
That Pet Cemetery. That
The Abyss, The Hunt
Volunteer.
for Red October, for Christ's
Yeah,
sake.
like it might
Oh,
be the second.
1990.
You're
might
right.
be-
It was, yeah.
But it might be the second best summer movie season behind 1994.
Yeah,
Like in our lifetime.
And The
Just
Abyss
banger after
came
banger.
out that same year.
82
and
was
it
no
suffered
slouch.
the same fate, honestly. Because The Abyss is a great film. The
Mhm.
only reason The Abyss is not, as well liked as it should be is just because it came out in the wrong year.
So, speaking of movies that transcended a genre, Jimmy did the perfect segue because The Abyss is on our list.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
one of my favorites. One of my
Richard, or is it Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio,
Michael
Michael
Biehn.
Biehn playing a Navy SEAL because he made Michael Biehn played a Navy SEAL longer than I think some Navy SEAls actually served in the Navy.
Here's the greatness of The Abyss, in my opinion. Never before had we blended aliens and underwater.
Mhm.
I mean, one of my favorite shows growing up, really the first season, I love Sequest. Great series. The first season.
Roy Schneider is awesome.
Yeah, right. What spurned out of that, I think comes from The Abyss. And The Abyss is so fucking gorgeous. Everything about that. I mean, it's a disaster movie. It's an alien movie. It's a heartfelt movie.
It's a military movie. It's an adventure film.
Yeah.
It's a Fear of the Atomic Bomb movie.
Yeah, cautionary tale.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it gives us the absolute number one best on-screen drowning death you will ever see.
Oh
in
my
cinema.
God.
There's never been before or since, in my opinion, a better dramatic moment of someone dying on screen to drowning than in The Abyss.
Well,
Dude.
and you know what I think makes the whole nuclear message so effective too is when you in 2025 when there is some type of political message in a movie, it is so on the nose that the nose has shattered and been pushed back into the brain. There is no nuance and subtlety in writing anymore because our writers suck, generally speaking. Now, there are, of course, exceptions, and there are some really great bangers out there. I'm not trying to shit on the entire industry, but when you can write a story and you don't have to spoon feed why, hey, nuclear weapons bad to the audience, and you can let them figure it out on their own.
Right.
It's much more effective. The audience, for the most part, and granted, there are some people out there that is just as dumb as some of the writers out there, but for the most part, the movie-going audience, especially the really like die-hard moviegoers like the four of us, and there's a lot of us out there, we understand. You don't have to shove it down our throat. Just write a good narrative and your message will come across. And The Abyss does a great job of that.
Especially the extended cut.
Mhm.
Especially, it's required viewing to see the extended cut of that
one I
film.
want. It's like Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven. There's
Mhm.
no way you're going to watch it theatrically. You have to watch the nearly 4-hour version or 3.5-hour version.
Because because the theatrical version cut out so much context that explains the actions. Like, now there's one thing, now I say don't spoon feed, but at the same time, when there is pre-existing events that directly inform the actions of a character that happens 20 minutes later, and you have cut out that pre-existing event, the audience is now left bereft of the understanding of
They're
why
going,
this
"What?
actor
Huh?"
is acting, is committing these actions. And then you're just like, huh, none of this makes sense. So yeah, so you're absolutely right. Kingdom of Heaven, if you're not watching the full director's cut, you're not watching the movie. You're watching
That's the only
bad
thing
clip
that's on my
notes.
Plex server. That's it's a great movie. His final cut, just like the final cut of The Abyss by Cameron, is the definitive version.
Yeah, you just pick a rainy Saturday and just sit down and watch it. It's amazing.
God, I might do that after this podcast.
But I will implore you, if you've never noticed it, and I'm sure all of us know where I'm going with this. In that scene where the giant tidal wave is about to crash into the coast, if you look to the lower left-hand corner, you will see a guy get pantsed. He literally, have y'all not seen this?
Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
know about this.
All right. As the news reporter is like, get the shot of the wave, and they pull back and they go wide, and you see that massive wave about to hit the beach. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, a guy literally gets bare ass pantsed on camera.
I am pulling this shit up right now.
I swear to God. Somebody
awesome.
brought him up, like, no freaking way. And when I finally got see, I'm right.
And he pulls it right back up. He's so embarrassed.
It's almost like the Teen Wolf thing with the guy with his junk, which not, but but this is more on the nose. I was like, what the fuck? How did that make it past that? Of course, it's not in the theatrical cut, but it's in the extended cut. Bigger than shit. It is there.
Yeah, it's funny. I almost forgot to kind of put that on our list until Jimmy said something. I'm like, oh, well, of course we got to talk about The Abyss, because this is peak James Cameron. Before you basically ripped off Ferngully and Dances with Wolves. Okay. And your technology is great. Your storytelling sucks. And
The Abyss and T2. I mean, that is
Right.
the top of the Cameron Mountain.
Mhm.
I'm going to throw True Lies in there because that's just a fucking fun movie.
All right. Okay. True. Yes, but
Is it
from a cinematic standpoint, from a cinematic achievement,
From bleeding edge effects and great freaking storytelling.
Yeah, True Lies is an awesome movie. It's a lot of fun. It's an old school spy story, adventure story. Tom Arnold is freaking hilarious in it. Charlton Heston has a fantastic
Bill Paxton
cameo.
as the
What
fake
kind of
spy
sick bitch
in that
takes the
movie?
ice cubes out of the ice tray?
Oh my god! Like it is a I love that movie. I went to see that movie in Martha's Vineyard on a summer vacation with my friend and his mom. His dad had passed away the previous year, and my friend was being a whiny little bastard and didn't come with us. And so it was just me and my buddy's mom, and we were watching it, and we had a great time. And it's the only movie I've ever watched on Martha's Vineyard, which is kind of funny because that's also not Jaws but Jaws. And so yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It's a wonderful movie. But when I say peak James Cameron, I mean, like, yes, that's a great movie. It's an adventure movie, but from a cinematic standpoint, T2 and The Abyss is James Cameron at the absolute peak of his cinematic directorial.
Right, and just the emotionality. Like we talk about, the drowning scene and them bringing her back to life. I don't even know if it's in the script. I'd be curious to know the script because I feel like Ed Harris probably improvised this when he is going at it again and yelling at her, "You bitch, you've never given up anything in your life," and it kind of like wills her back to life. It's like you're almost in tears. And I remember watching that with my grandmother was in tears on that, and I'm like, wow, okay. I didn't understand the full meaning of that scene until years later.
Am I the only one that thinks Ed Harris should have been a bigger star?
Yeah, no, you're not. And the real agonizing part of that scene. Y'all have watched the documentary Under Pressure, right?
I have not.
Okay.
Mhm.
There is, you probably know where I'm going with this, Marcus. That was not the first take.
Yeah.
They were about halfway through that scene, and the camera ran out of fucking.
Yeah.
And Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio went fucking ballistic on Cameron.
Yeah.
Like we're not machines. We're human beings. We cannot keep up this level of intensity that you keep pushing us to.
Yeah.
And like that's why when there were people that were involved in that production that will say, Oh, Son of Abyss? No way. If they do a sequel, I won't have anything to do with it because that pushed a lot of those people to their fucking breaking point.
And
I
you
mean,
can't.
and Cameron pushed himself beyond his breaking point in a lot of cases.
Yeah. There are so many great movies that you see certain scenes that's so emotional that you can't really. I mean, Martin Sheen has talked about it before when doing Apocalypse Now. I mean, the whole scene at the beginning of the movie, where he's in the hotel room and they just leave the camera. That's him grieving over his father's death.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you get back to the? There's moments in The West Wing where he is emotional and because I love it that in season 2 when at the end of season 2 where he's in the church alone after Mrs. Landingham dies and he's cursing God over everything and deciding if he's going to run again. It's a great scene, but I'm like, it doesn't beat that scene when you are at your breaking point. So, whoever suggests that you should make a sequel to Abyss, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, they're saying it was never going to happen because it was not exactly the biggest commercial success.
Speaking of Ed Harris, getting back to one of the greatest sequels of all time, because we've talked about it many times and how it rescued cinema, Top Gun Maverick. Was he not the perfect choice for the Admiral at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
Put that in your Pentagon budget. And he's like, sir.
Here you are, still a captain. Why is that?
What a
One of life's great mystery, sir.
The end is near, Maverick. Yeah, that may be true, but not today.
I just watched it in the theater room yesterday. Glorious. Fucking
that is one of those movies that I could throw up in the background and just watch it. It could be any rainy day.
Anybody that grew up loving F-14s, when Rooster says, "Are we sure you're going to be able to get this museum piece?" Museum piece, you mother, take that back.
Hey, I shot down 3 MiGs in that.
It's like F-14s were still in service when I was in service, you punk.
Oh my!
Hey, they're still in service in parts of the world.
Not really, not anymore. I think the Israelis blew most of them up.
I think Iran is still running them.
No,
right.
Israel blew most of them up in the last fight.
We can talk about I mean, we can do an entire.
All the F4s are gone too.
About the Abyss. And if you are one of those that still hasn't seen this movie, first of all, don't admit that out loud. Just go watch it.
But if you just go watch it, we won't judge you.
Right. But it'll change.
Openly, we won't judge you.
Yeah.
Openly.
There's one movie that I want to mention. It's kind of a horror aspect. It's a horror movie, kind of a sci-fi, and just because it's Halloween, it was a different take on the horror genre. Also, fun fact: Johnny Depp's very first movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, because we had never. The only movie that we had really about dreams before the year before it came out, there was that movie with Kate Capshaw, Dennis Quaid, where they get yourself into dreams and
Dreamscape.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it, which is funny because it has the word dream in it.
Which the guy that played Luther in 48 Hours is the villain. I can't think of his name.
Also, before Inception, okay, which if you still haven't figured that movie out, whatever. But anyway, Nightmare on Elm Street, which spawned a bunch of sequels, that is still one of the greatest horror movies. And we say that because Robert Englund finally got his star.
Yes, he did.
And he wore the glove.
And he wore the glove on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah. Also, great to talk to. Always love his panels.
Loved him in The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Yeah.
Hello.
But we talk about terrible horror movies that don't make sense. It was such a great concept about this thing in your dreams and just the way that it starts and all that 40 years later, it never gets old. Am I right?
No,
We're
although
correct.
as much as I like the first one, my favorite is always going to be the third one, The Dream Warriors.
Yeah. And I get that. Totally get that.
Because it shows the story evolving and people figuring out, oh, you can actually fight him in dreams because you can control your dream.
Which would make a great video game.
Yes. Actually, they did make one. There was an NES game.
Yes, I played it.
Mm-hmm. It was really hard too. You get your ass kicked
Yeah, you
a
do.
lot.
So many of those early NES games
Oh.
were just ridiculous.
Just the power curve, the learning curve on that was just a straight line up.
Yep. All those
Well, that's back in
LJN
the
friggin'
day.
translations.
Well, that's back in the day when every game needed a manual, you know. So here's the deal with Nightmare on Elm Street. It is absolutely one of my favorite as well. If you look at it, if you actually watch it, you should just think about also the different special effects that they had in there, like the rubber wall, like just pressing through, and like just the loomingness of he's part of that environment. Just like the menacing quality of it is, I mean, is one of the best for especially like the kind of popcorn flick horror movie type thing. Also, it's probably one of the first times when pretty much they didn't outright say it, but they heavily implied it that the bad guy was a child molester.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah. Well,
mean,
yeah. I think
not
later
many
movies they
movies-
absolutely confirm it.
Yeah, not many
The
movies
the
really make-
remake they do the one with
Yeah.
Jack Earl Haley playing him. Which
Well, I mean,
yeah,
even in
I'm just
the
talking about the
early
original,
ones.
you know.
yeah.
And then the best, actually, you know what? I'm gonna rechange it. Just because, first of all, R.I.P. Wes Craven, who created the character. But second of all, one of the greatest reboots that never gets talked about is Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah.
That
where,
was great.
where Freddy
Meta
comes
as
into the
hell.
world and goes after the actual actors from the first one, and specifically Heather Langenkamp, who was a huge crush of mine. And probably a huge crush of all four of ours. But that was such a great '90s horror movie, and probably, I don't know, it may have even kicked off the resurgence of teen horror movies with stuff like you would get, like, after that you would get I Know What You Did Last Summer, Final Destination, all
Yeah.
these different teen horror movies that came out in the late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But again, just the concept of the dream world and being able to kill you and all that, we had never really seen that, before. I mean, again, I know you had the movie Dreamscape, but in that capacity, it was new and exciting, and even today, it's still a really cool concept that transcends the genre, getting beyond just the regular hack and slash, blood and gore or whatever. I mean, it's scary, and
It added a Hitchcockian
Yeah.
psychological element to the horror
Now,
instead
here's
of
the
just being gore.
here's the bigger question. Again, this is Halloween, and I'm going to close it out this way. Out of, let's take three iconic first movies of horror series, which one would you pick if you had to watch one tonight? Would you pick Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, or the original Halloween?
Freddy's my boy. Freddy's always been my boy. I know that sounds weird to talk about a character that was a pedophile, but
No, it's no contest. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Because here's the thing. Same thing with Jason and Michael Myers. Their characters they are just they're not even a character. They're a plot device.
Right.
Freddy has panache. Freddy is a wise ass. Freddy is a shit talker. Freddy has personality.
Person in the movie.
Yeah. He is a he is a fully developed character. The other two are just dudes with weapons, and you can't kill them. Although I will say this, Jason does have the funniest kill of all time when the boxer tries to box him and he just knocks the dude's head clean off.
Yeah. I love the original Halloween. I mean, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And even the third one that's kind of out of the norm. But at some point, you have to keep explaining that after you've killed him multiple times, burned Michael Myers, is he bionic? Is he an android? Is this Westworld? What the fuck is going on here?
Don't forget that Jason's been in space.
Yeah, I did forget about that.
I did not.
Yeah.
I saw that. I want to say I saw that in Pensacola, Florida, when I was in the Navy. And if you watch that movie, kind of like my wife read Twilight as a comedy, that movie is hilarious.
Hey, you know what? You know what it is? It's Machete in space.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that movie in theater. I was absolutely laughing my ass off the whole time.
The best one is the one who he dunks in the liquid nitrogen and freezes in half and then breaks in half.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite kill of the movie.
So we're not done talking about sci-fi movies that transcend a genre. Obviously, there's a lot more, and I think the next time that we come back to do a podcast, more classic sci-fi, it's easy to talk about Star Wars. It really is. But there's also some aspects of stuff that they did in the Star Trek movies that when you're not relying solely on CGI and you are, really good storytelling. And that's something that we're going to talk about down the road. Especially Star Trek as we get to next year with the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. But for the time being, yeah, we had to mention some horror sci-fi movies like A Nightmare on Elm Street and obviously The Abyss. And if you're watching this and again you have not seen these movies, just go watch them. You will not be disappointed because of all the shit that's out there, of all the regurgitated nonsense where writers just aren't creative anymore and just copying and pasting what they saw. These classics still hold up.
Honorable mention, Pitch Black.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And you
Well,
know what? You talk
yeah.
about Hitchcock movies. Like, I don't mind if you take the same concept and you kind of do necessarily, and I'm not necessarily a reboot or a reimagining. The one that Shia LaBeouf did, that's basically Rear Window, Disturbia. I don't think that's a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun one. And David Morse plays a great villain, and it's a great concept of someone who can't leave their house because they have an ankle bracelet and all that.
Another underrated actor, by the way, in David Morse.
David Morse? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He was great in The Rock, by the way.
Yes, he was. Another Rock.
Bringing it back full circle.
You want to
along with Ed Harris.
I would love to talk about just the prop design in The Rock and the set design in The Rock.
The string of pearls for the VX gas.
Which
it's probably complete and utter bullshit, but man, it looks great.
By the way,
like 10-year-old, 12-year-old me was just like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
By the way,
12.
If you haven't guessed that we will be talking about action movies that still hold up down the road, yeah, we're just giving you a few of the movies that we're going to talk about.
Also, Vanessa Marcel and Pigtails.
I still want to do a big deep dive.
Got a young man thinking. That's all I'm saying.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. This
Absolutely.
is the anniversary year.
Can we just do an entire Tim Curry retrospective?
Well, there's a retrospective we definitely need to delve into with a brilliant artist that we recently lost. Because whenever you were talking about series that you always like to watch on Halloween, I always make it a point to watch The Thing.
Yes.
And Bruce Struzan did the poster art for The Thing without even seeing a production still, without having viewed the film, and he did it in a day. And we lost that brilliant man a few weeks back. Yeah. And if you live locally in the area, which all of us do, if you ever get the chance, I've actually got my coaster here from the Galactic Gallery. It's in Flower Mound, and it contains samples of everything that Drew has done. And
I'd also like to say, just before he dies, everyone here at That Nerd Show loves Tim Curry.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Because it's easy to do, like, oh, we loved him. No, we love Tim Curry right now. We've always loved Tim Curry, and we always will love Tim Curry.
He's still my favorite.
Part of so many of my just like number one, like making me who I am today movies.
He still has my ultimate comfort. My ultimate comfort movie. Whenever I'm sick, I'm not feeling well, and I need to laugh, I watch Clue.
Yes. Also, another one that turned 40 this year. So there you go. Still my favorite. And he does play a great villain as well, a little side villain in Home Alone 2.
Yep.
Yep.
And also, of course, don't forget Cardinal Richelieu. And he was also the villain in the McHale's Navy remake.
Which is a fun remake. It really is.
Oh, don't forget Fern Gully. He was the
Yep.
evil entity in Fern Gully.
And
Legend. Is there a better demon?
Yeah, but so you
Legend.
better not
Than
forget
Legend?
Darkness. You
Okay,
better not
and then
forget Darkness and
also-
Legend.
Maybe my favorite thing he's ever done. He was King Arthur in the original Broadway musical of Spamalot.
Spamalot. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All
yeah,
right,
we can do a
everybody.
lot on Tim Curry. So
Yes, we could.
Oh, and we will. All right, everybody. We will definitely be talking more about sci-fi movies down the road because there's still a lot more to talk about. Things that we love, getting beyond all of our complaint sessions about how everything is shit, and really the things from our childhood are still, a lot better. But until
we're going
then,
to tell you about things that are awesome, so you can watch those things and you can understand why we love them so much.
right?
And the
Instead of
fact that they
complaining about
hold
everything.
up. A
Yeah.
lot of the 90s movies actually really do hold up.
Even the 80s movies, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Back
They
to
do.
the Future.
My kids love most of the movies that we watch them together. They love them. They absolutely hold up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
But until then, it is time to say goodbye.
Cheers, everybody.